everybody, welcome back to another audio video. This is a witness encounter, very recent, June 12th, this year at the San Luis National Forest. And before I get started here, please like and subscribe to the channel and hit us up on Facebook as well. I appreciate it. But this individual here, they actually started out on June 11th at Kelly's Pond with a group. And due to the high traffic there in the logging, they decided the next night they would move over to the Stubblefield area. So it would have been June 12th when this happened. And it started out with them spreading out. And I'm not going to get too much into it because it's all in the interview here. But the ice shine is what led them to having the encounter. And they got a few pictures of the ice shine before they even realized what they were looking at. They were just taking pictures of the ice shine. And I'm fixing to show you these pictures before the interview starts. I really like them because it shows how big the eyes are. And any of you guys that have been out there and seen like raccoon eye shine, you know, you're talking some small eyes. But to me, they're pretty distinct in the size. And so I'll show you those first, and then we'll move on to the interview. And like I said, I like this because it's real fresh. This guy, he seemed to have good luck on his side, or good fate, if you might say. This was his first time out. He was always kind of on the fence about it, and decided the best way to find the truth for himself was to get out there. And I really like that. I wish more people would do that. There's a whole lot of armchair quarterbacks. I wish they would get off their butt and get out there, but you know that's not going to happen. So, but if any of you do ever change your mind, armchair quarterbacks that is, get in touch with me or somebody else in your area. There's plenty of groups on Facebook in your area. And get them to take you out, you know. Open your mind and get out there and have some fun. Even if you don't have an encounter, you're going to meet some great people. Because sometimes it don't happen the first time out. But anyways, we're going to move on. And like I said, the first thing I'm going to show you is a few pictures here. And then we'll move straight into the interview. Yeah, if you could just kind of tell us how the night went and what y'all started out. You said you started out at Kelly's Pond, but I know a lot of people go there. It gets pretty busy sometimes.
Right. It really did get kind of busy the second day. We arrived there Friday, and a lot of the trail. It really wasn't that bad because they had a lot of the trails closed due to all the rain that had been going on.
Oh, okay.
So there wasn't a lot of bike riders out there and all that. But as the day went on, when you turn off that main road to go down to Kelly's Pond, there's a lot of little turnoffs right there where people camp, and by the end of the evening, that was all full.
It was all full?
Yeah.
Okay.
There was only 2 or 3 in Kelly's Pond, but down that road, they had stopped and just made a camp right there beside the road.
Well, quite a few people. I know the logging you're talking about that's going on right over there by that. So.
Yeah, it's over there kind of on the north of Kelly's Pond.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I always wondering what that might affect the behavior over there.
I don't know. We weren't sure, and there was, like I say, the people camped on the road and everything, and we didn't really want to stick around that area because of all that activity.
Oh yeah, I get that. I understand that completely. I like to get in areas a little bit more quiet myself, so I always seem to have a little better luck that way. But yeah, if you don't mind, man, just kind of walk us through it, and, from how y'all started out and everything, and I'll let you just take it away.
let me give you a little background, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm I've always watched all the TV shows about Bigfoot and stuff, and finally decided, I was just gonna go out myself to look. I'd never been before, never done anything like that, and actually got in the Bigfoot group and just made a post, said, "Does anybody want to go?" And it was amazing how much response I got. There was like 140 responses,
Wow.
and 20, probably 20 people said they wanted to go, but then only about 4 or 5 showed up.
That's usually the way it works.
So anyway, I got there. I live near Jefferson, Texas.
Okay, that's a hot area. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it took me like 4 hours to get there. So I got there like 1 o'clock Friday afternoon, and then I don't know if you're familiar with Bobby Hamilton. He used to be. Did you ever watch the show Killing Bigfoot?
No, didn't watch that one.
Yeah, well, he was on that show,
Okay.
and him and his son came out there, and a couple of guys from Tyler came out.
Oh, all the way from Tyler, huh?
Yeah,
All right.
and we just kind of messed around there Friday afternoon and all, and walked a couple of trails, and that's where we found out they were logging and all that stuff. We went ahead and camped at Kelly's Pond Friday night. We didn't really have any activity. We took the trails out from Kelly's Pond a little ways. Actually, I don't know if you're familiar. There's a pipeline that runs down through there.
Yes.
And
Yes.
we walked the trail all the way down to that pipeline, myself and Bobby's son. And we kind of fiddled around there at the pipeline for a while, and I decided, well, I'm going to do something here. So I did what I try to do as far as an owl call. And as soon as I did that, we heard the big long howl and then a bunch of coyotes, and it was way down south from where we were.
Okay, so the first call after you made your owl call, y'all think likely was a Sasquatch, and then coyotes came in after that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty typical of out there, too, as well. It seems like all of Texas, there's always a vocal from Sasquatch or vocals, and then coyotes, or coyotes and then Sasquatch, or just kind of intermingled with each other.
Right. That's basically all we got. They kind of faded away like they were going in the opposite direction, and so we started walking back down the gravel road toward Kelly's Pond, and excuse me. As soon as we started walking down the road, I could have sworn I heard a wood knock right close over off the pipeline, but I wasn't sure. So anyway,
Right.
That was pretty much all we got that night. And so the next morning, Bobby was hurting. He's got bad arthritis, and his hips were bothering him and all this stuff. So him and his son left fairly early.
Okay.
And
This was Saturday morning, right?
this was Saturday morning,
Okay.
yes, sir. Myself and the other 2 guys from Tyler walked around a little bit there, and I decided, well, I'm going to go drive some of the roads and see where some other places might be, because we all agreed that we didn't want to be there for another night. So I went from one end to the other on the main road and saw several places, and drove all the way over to Stubblefield. Kind of took a look at the campground there, and then went back and we decided that we were going to go up to the area that we went to and go ahead and spend the night there. There's no campground up there, but we turned in, like one of the old logging roads where they have the gates across them where you can't go in.
Sure.
There was enough room there right off of the road that we could pull both trucks in and kind of set up there and just make a kind of a makeshift camp there.
How was the weather?
Oh, it was hot and muggy.
Hot and muggy.
Yeah.
The East
I
Texas
think it was
forest.
about 90, 92,
Oh,
93
boy.
degrees.
Wow.
Yeah. So we're sitting around sweating. And we were waiting. We were waiting for some other people that had said they were coming. A guy named Matt Harvey and his wife. He does a podcast called Deepwoods Paranormal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know that
And,
podcast. Okay.
Yeah, he came out there with his wife, and they got there late, so we just decided to stay in the area that we were stopped at. And of course, Matt had all the good stuff, the thermal and night vision and all that.
Yeah, he had the good equipment.
Right, right. So our plan was that he and his wife were going to walk down to the pipeline, which was nearby, and kind of check it out. Josh, one of the guys from Tyler, was going to go down the main road to where the trail crosses, the hiking trail crosses that road down further, and he was going to go down there, check things out. And myself and Buck, the other guy from Tyler, were going to walk down the logging road that we had stopped at. So everybody took off and did their thing once it got dark, and we had decided to go ahead and do this. And we had walkie-talkies. We were talking to each other.
Okay.
But myself and Buck walking down the road, if you walk down that road about a quarter of a mile, it kind of turns to the left and winds its way back deeper into the woods. Well, I know you're familiar with the area where they have the gates. They'll have reflectors on them.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Where they have the pipe gates on the roads and stuff, they have reflectors on them.
Oh, yes, yes.
Of course, it was dark. I had a headlamp on, and he had a small flashlight. That's all we had. We weren't doing a bunch of noise and lights and all that. We were just kind of walking down the road. The only reason we had the headlamp and the flashlight on is because there was no moon and it was totally dark. You couldn't see your hand in front of your face.
Oh, okay, so you had a good blackout night.
Yeah. And anyway, we walked down this logging road, and as we came around one of the curves, I looked down there and I thought, well, now, why do they have another gate down here? Because that looks like reflectors. Well, we kept going and walking, getting closer, and I saw it move. And we got a little closer and was looking at it, and Buck says, well, that's probably a coon or a coyote or something. I said, no, they're not. The eye shine that we saw was kind of a bright. I mean, it looked to me like somebody holding two little flashlights up there.
Oh, what color was that eye shine?
It was basically white.
Oh, white.
Had
okay.
a little bit of maybe a yellow tint to it.
Okay.
But we were standing there and we said, well, it's not a deer because a deer would run. It's not a hog. It's not a coyote. I don't know what it is. And I said, well, it's got to be Bigfoot. And he said, well, no, it's too low to the ground. I said, well, maybe he's sitting down.
Yeah, right.
So anyway, we kept watching. You know, every once in a while it would turn or it would blink, and we knew we were looking at something. So we just kept watching and watching. I didn't try to get any closer because of the terrain and the darkness, and I didn't want to get out there and break a leg or something. They were probably 100, 150 feet away.
Well, that's not very far.
Yeah, there was two, actually. one, like I say, looked like it was down close to the ground. The other one was off to the left of that one, kind of standing there looking back toward it. But you could see the eye shine.
Okay, so it sounds
So,
like I walked upon two of them then.
yeah, yeah. And we just kept watching and watching. And finally, I guess he got tired of us standing there. And during this time, we radioed the other guys and said, we got eye shine and all. I think Josh was headed our way because he showed up shortly after that. But anyway, I guess the creature got tired of us bothering him and stood up to leave. Well, when he stood up to leave, he turned his head. You know, when he was standing there looking at you with the eye shine shining at you from your light, that's all you can see.
Right, just the eye shine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because my headlamp isn't that strong. So when it got up to leave, it turned its head, I guess, and I didn't see the eye shine. Well, at that point, my headlamp had enough light that I could actually see the figure. So I saw a figure stand up, just like if you were standing up from a crouch. I could see the thigh and the knee bend and the calf and the foot and, you know, the hip.
Were you
covered?
Were you seeing that more as a silhouette, or were you seeing like actual? You could see the hair.
No, I
color?
could actually see it. It had like brownish red hair,
Okay.
fur, whatever you want to call it, fur or hair. I don't know. Some people call them both. But I didn't see the upper part. And at that point, it had turned. It was walking kind of parallel to us. You could see a little bit of the eye shine from the side as he walked back down into the woods, and it was there's a gully there, hollow, and he just kind of disappeared into that hollow. And I'm really disappointed because I should have been watching the other one as well. So it disappeared. I guess it went the other way.
Right.
Because the Matt down on the pipeline said that in the night vision, he said he saw something like step out into the pipeline, you know, the clear,
Mm-hmm.
and then kind of turn around and step back into the woods.
Okay, so he was able to see
that-
something on was his thermal or night vision?
I think it was night vision, yeah.
Okay.
But he wasn't. I don't think he was recording it. So that may have been the other one that had gone that way.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
And as that other one that we had watched walk away into the woods, well, at that point, Josh, the other guy from Tyler, had come up, and we were all talking. We were walking back and forth to see if we could pick anything else up again, walking up and down that road. And we heard a sound I've never heard before. Now, Bobby had said that they have heard something that they call the bionic bird.
Yeah, I've heard that.
And yeah, and I'm assuming that that's what we heard, because it was the loudest bird call I've ever heard, and it echoed through the woods, and I have a feeling that was it, making some kind of sound.
Could have very well have been. I got to ask you, when you saw that thing get up, I mean, what kind of emotions ran through you?
Oh, Buck was about 20 feet away from me. I had told him to keep his light on it. While I was walking down the other way, I was trying to, find a vantage point where we could see better. And I told him to keep his light on it. Well, all I did, I said, he's getting up. There he goes. There he goes. And, we just, at that point, watched him walk off in the woods.
I imagine it's pretty exciting, though.
I was excited. I didn't have fear or anything. I was just excited about it.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't sound like any kind of hostile encounter or anything like that. They were just observing you.
No.
Yeah.
We had sat over camp earlier, and Matt had played some Native American music. He said they've had situations where it responded to that, and we did some knocks and stuff like that. And I guess maybe they had gotten curious and come up there that close, but
Mm-hmm.
no, there was not any kind of threatening situations at all.
Yeah. From what you were able to see, were you able to get any kind of judgment on height?
I didn't because we didn't go down to where they were. I know that as he got up, I noticed in my light that he had been sitting or crouching between two big trees, and just from the sight of it, I'm sure it was a rather large creature. I mean, you can tell by what you've seen of the people in the woods.
Correct.
You know. And the other one on the left that had the eye shine that we should have paid more attention to was way up higher. So I'm assuming he was standing up over there.
So he may have been quite a tall fellow there.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, for me to have the interest and do this for their first time and actually see one was just amazing to me. You know.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing because you kind of got into the same way I got into it. You know, listening to everything, watching all the listening to all the podcasts, and basically I just decided one day to get out a map, and it just happened to be the big thicket, and I picked out a spot where I thought there's food, there's cover, there's not a lot of people, and there's water, and I went there and had a hell of an experience for probably about 3 weeks in a row. I just kept going
Really?
back. It was crazy.
Well, you know, I joined all the groups on Facebook and all that, and listen to all that stuff, and watch the TV shows, and you hear this, you hear that. Everybody's got their own opinion.
Oh, sure.
Everybody says this, everybody says that. You know, all the pictures that you see, you wonder if they're real or not, and all that. And I just decided, well, you know, I need to find out for myself. So.
Well, that's the best thing you can do. Mm-hmm.
That's what made me decide to go out and do that.
And but I got to ask you, because you know it's summertime, it's hot, it's humid, so you would think they would stink in the summertime more than they would in the wintertime. But did you get any odors or anything that night?
No, we did not. The night before, when we were walking the trail down by Kelly's Pond, we had smelled that. To me, it's like almost like a dead animal type smell.
Okay.
We had smelled that, but we didn't hear or see anything.
Okay. Nice.
But when we saw those two, we did not smell anything at all.
Yeah, sometimes there's a smell, sometimes there's not. But,
well, I mean, you know, I don't remember which way the wind was blowing. It could have been blowing away from us or whatever.
Right.
So that could be the reason we didn't smell anything.
When you were able to see the bottom portion of them, were you able to see enough definition to see, you know, like muscle mass, or was it just basically just covered in hair?
I could make out the shape of the calf and the thigh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely been working out. Put it that way. So, yeah, I could see it.
Well, it sounds like you did the right thing in picking that night to go out. I mean, everything was in your favor, for sure.
Yeah, I'm wondering, would it be better to go out like on a full moon night?
You know, I did a poll in my group about that, as far as sightings, encounters, vocals on different moon phases and stuff, and everything was pretty much split 50-50. So, you know, with that data, I'm going to just say it's just a matter of being in the right place at the right time, and not the moon phase. But as far as me and things that have happened to me, I've had on both full moons, half moons, blackouts. You know, so it hasn't made a bit of difference for me at all. But now,
well, when you had your encounters, were you on private property or?
no, I was always on the public in the It's either in a big thicket or the San Luis National Forest.
Yeah.
There's so many places to look around at, but the problem is I mean the list is big, but when you're going to a place and you have so much action there, it's kind of like why fix something that's not broken,
Right.
So I just keep going back to the same places. I mean, if they're gonna keep giving me action there, why would I want to go anywhere else, But is there anything else you can think of about that night that you want to share? Or?
Well, the guys had to leave, and I stayed there. I didn't have a tent or anything. I slept in my truck, and
I hope you had that air conditioner running.
no,
Oh boy.
it was pretty sweaty.
Yeah.
And nothing else happened then. So I don't know. I want to go back to that area, but I'm not sure when. Because I'd like to see if maybe we get a cool front come in. Maybe when one of the hurricanes comes through and it cools off a little bit and gets a little wet, I might head back down there. Like I say, that was the first time I've been out anywhere. So
I'll tell you
at
what.
some point, I hope.
A pretty lucky first time right there. Pretty lucky. Everybody wishes for that kind of luck.
Yeah. Like you say, right place to right time.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Well, I can tell you, from now on, I'm no longer a skeptic or a believer. I'm a knower.
Yeah,
I know.
That's good. So
I know what I saw.
that's good. So we need a lot more people to get out there and do the same.
Well, if you decide to go out that way sometime soon, let me know, and I may see if I can get a way to go.
Yeah, absolutely will. And the same to you. If you decide to go, let me know. Yeah.
Okay.
I'd love to meet you out there. So.
Sure will.
Okay. Well, I appreciate it. And
okay. All right, Shane. I really appreciate it.
all right. Well, thank you for taking the
You're really
time.
good talking. Good talking to you. I always like to hear people's opinions and thoughts and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. And look forward to meeting you out there someday. So.
Right. Great.
All right.
Look
Well,
forward to it.
sounds good. Thank you.
All right, Shane. Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too.